today, randomly, there was video that got leaked of Sean Diddy Combs seen in a video, which, by the way, is one thing about reading about something. And, sometimes, even when you read an allegation, especially if there's no charges, you don't know what's true and what's not. It's a very different thing when you see it. Now, also, trigger warning for anybody who's sensitive to anything with violence or either domestic violence, because I am going to play the clip. But this is one of those things where, if we think about rappers or people who have been accused of either domestic violence or whatever the case is, it's one thing if you see the allegation. It's another thing if you see the arrest. It's like a whole entirely different thing if you see the bruises, and then it's like the utmost if you see the actual video of what happened, right? Like now we're Chris Brown notoriously, even though we didn't have the video of what happened, based on both of the victims being high profile celebrities, it definitely affected his career for just off of how heinous and how crazy the bruises looked. If we look at the Ray Rice situation, watching that surveillance footage, that pretty much ended Ray Rice's career. And I mean, I guess the Quavo and Sweetie thing wasn't really like that crazy, but even, Jay-Z's career could have maybe taken a different turn if when him and Solange and Beyonce was in the elevator and Solange was kind of getting at him, if he had reacted differently, that would have been crazy. By the way, going all the way back, there was a time that there was another rapper who was about to get canceled for footage that kind of looked like this, and that was NBA Youngboy. There was an NBA Youngboy footage where he was fighting in a hallway, I believe maybe with Jania. I don't know if it was with Jania, you guys could tell me. And people were done with him at that point. And to be honest, he's one of the few I've said that has survived cancellation, but he only did it by just becoming the hottest rapper in the world. Like, he just had to keep working, putting out good music, gaining that audience to the point that the mainstream outlets that didn't want to cover him was like, fuck it, he has all the people, we got to cover him, right? And that's kind of one of the only ways I've seen cancellation being defeated. You just got to get to the point where they can't ignore you, and they'll seem to stop reporting about the bullshit if you do other things, right? Anyway, this Diddy video, and I'll read where it comes from. I probably should just play the video already, right? But this is a CNN exclusive, which this is kind of like really interested. This is kind of crazy because, I don't know, I mean, my dude Diddy is in a bath towel. I don't know if he was in a freak off or my nigga was, was in the shower. My boy was like chasing her down like a hyena chasing down a prey. And I think this nigga had a loofah in one hand. I don't know what the hell going on, but I'll play the footage. But please, trigger warning for anybody who's sensitive to some of these things. Drill, also, if we're going to have this on YouTube, we should probably be very mindful about, showcasing all this. We probably want to blur this, okay? Since we're watching live stream, obviously I can't blur it in real time, so you guys are going to see it. All right.
New surveillance footage obtained exclusively by CNN appears to corroborate some of the allegations of abuse against music mogul Sean Diddy Combs. The video, captured on multiple cameras, shows Combs assaulting his then-girlfriend Cassie Ventura in a hallway at a Los Angeles hotel in March 2016. A lawsuit filed by Ventura in November last year and settled the next day referenced actions that seem to match those seen in this video. There is no audio. According to the complaint, Combs became extremely intoxicated and punched Miss Ventura in the face, giving her a black eye, which, according to the lawsuit, prompted Ventura to try and leave the hotel room. The surveillance video obtained by CNN begins as she enters.
By the way, I'll pause a few times to kind of show a few things that I noticed. Again, I don't know the nature of their relationship, and I'm not gonna, I only know what's on face value, but I also don't want to be definitive in anything I'm saying. I'm just trying to analyze based on what I'm seeing. It appears, she's claiming that he punched her before, so before she got out of the room, I guess they were fighting. What we'll notice here, and this was kind of like interesting, is like apparently she was probably sneaking out because she's carrying her shoes in her hand. Like, she ain't want to like put on her shoes inside the hotel and make a noise, so she's like sneaking out, and I think she's trying to put it on at the elevator, and here comes Diddy, and the way Diddy's running down that hallway, man, it's like Bruh, it's like somebody said in the chat, it's like a WWE entrance, nigga. Like, it's like the glass just broke and Stone Cold Steve Austin is running down to the motherfucking ring to help out in a handicap match, bro. This shit just looks crazy.
And leave the hotel room.
So she's put on her shoes here.
The surveillance
She presses the button, and here comes this nigga. This nigga running out the back like this is WWE, like he's Randy Orton or something like that, like he's Triple H. He got one hand on the towel because, like, you know, God forbid he was in the middle of a freak off. His dang-a-lang probably still hard, so he got to make sure that shit don't get exposed on the camera. He didn't give a fuck about assaulting her on the camera.
Video obtained by CNN begins as she enters the hallway. The complaint says as she exited, Mr. Combs awoke and began screaming at Miss Ventura. He followed her into the hallway of the hotel while yelling at her. The complaint goes on to say he grabbed her and then took glass vases in the hallway and threw them at her. In the surveillance video, Combs can be seen grabbing Ventura and throwing her to the ground.
Okay. Oh, I didn't see this part earlier. I did watch this a little bit earlier. Where is this? He's sitting on something and just throwing it at her? That's not in the room, right? That looks like that's like in the hallway?
Threw them at her. In the surveillance video, and then took glass vases in the hallway and threw them at her. In the surveillance video, Combs can be seen grabbing Ventura and throwing her to the ground. As Ventura lies on the ground, Combs then kicks her twice and attempts to drag her on the floor back to the hotel room.
Yo, this is like some Fred Flintstone type of shit, man. This looked ridiculously crazy and insane. Even, even reading this, I didn't think there was going to be video proof that would look like this. I'm shocked, I'm going to be honest with you.
Ventura is seen picking up a hotel phone. Combs seems to walk back to the hotel room, then returns and appears to shove her in a corner.
Yo, I ain't gonna lie. The way how Diddy's walking, bro.
Seems to walk back to the hotel room, then returns.
Yo, like, the way Diddy's walking is like, again, I'm also gonna, just because we only know what we see and we don't know anything else. But it's probably a decent assumption that he was probably, like, if this was caught on camera, he probably was giving her the beats inside the hotel earlier that day, the night before. The thing is, I don't even, like, the way he's walking, he looks heated, bro. I don't know what the fuck she must have did. Again, I'm not trying to victim blame. I'm not saying she had to do something to cause this. But this guy looks really irritated. Now, one thing to add, Diddy has had, like, a notorious anger problem. That's been always said in the industry, right? He's quick-tempered, he doesn't calm down, and usually he'll do the most and then play cleanup afterwards. You get what I'm saying?
And appears to shove her in a corner. Moments later, he can be seen throwing an object in her direction. According to Ventura's now settled lawsuit, the pair began dating several years after they met in 2005. They parted ways in 2019. Combs' attorney said the decision to settle was in no way an admission of wrongdoing. Ventura declined to comment on the video, but her attorney told CNN the gut-wrenching video has only further confirmed the disturbing and predatory behavior of Mr. Combs. Words cannot...
Now, again, and anytime I'm going to speculate, I'm going to let it be known that I'm speculating. You know, we all were kind of confused why Diddy settled so quick. We read the complaint. The complaint was already, had a bunch of stuff saying that she was kind of forced to have sex against her will with a bunch of dudes, do these freak offs, and he would be violent to her, this and third. But, with all things considered, especially things that we saw in other lawsuits that followed, it always felt like she didn't drop everything in the lawsuit, right? And I think we all probably agree that they, right before they filed, or maybe the day of, I don't know what happened, they got a hold of Diddy's team and started telling them, like, hey, listen, we could sell this or the other shit is coming out. Now, some people have actually, assumed that some of those other things might be information about Diddy fornicating with dudes, like, you know what I mean, him being gay, or, you know, him doing other things that might be like nefarious or whatever. But after seeing this, and I'm not trying to say that Cassie leaked this at all, but I'm wondering if this videotape was available to Cassie and her team, because I could see Diddy, if they say, like, you got to think about it, why Diddy would just settle immediately? Like, you already got the media hit, right? Immediately. She must have had some shit she ain't dropped yet. Or she was saying, we could get into that now. Maybe Diddy knew this video was there, and he probably thought paying whatever he paid meant this video would never come out. Now, we're going to get back to when this actually happened and why this video never went anywhere. And supposedly there was no police investigation ever about this, right? Like, police never really investigated. But let me keep playing this video.
The decision to settle was in no way an admission of wrongdoing. Ventura declined to comment on the video, but her attorney told CNN the gut-wrenching video has only further confirmed the disturbing and predatory behavior of Mr. Combs. Words cannot express the courage and fortitude that Miss Ventura has shown.
Hey, this is another reason I keep telling you I believe Cassie's working with the feds. Because after Cassie has gotten paid, Cassie's attorney still is following up all of these things. Like, you would think, I'm not saying that he's not going to still represent her about these issues, but her attorney has been on record almost like saying, yes, I'm glad his house got raided. Yes, I'm glad that these things are happening, which kind of almost says, like, he's almost representing what we would think is her opinion, that I'm glad Diddy is fucking getting what we thought was due to him. And that would only mean to me that she's definitely going to be cooperating with the feds if she hasn't already. Keep in mind, the feds, we don't know who they talked to, but they told us who they didn't talk to. They didn't talk to the little Rod dude. But we would assume that they would talk to Cassie, right?
In coming forward to bring this to light. The video hasn't been seen publicly before and comes on the heels of a series of civil lawsuits alleging Combs' involvement in sex trafficking and sexual abuse. Allegations Combs has repeatedly denied. In a December 2023 statement, Combs responded to the claims in all the lawsuits, saying, "Sickening allegations have been made against me by individuals looking for a quick payday. Let me be absolutely clear. I did not do any of the awful things being alleged." CNN has reached out to representatives for Combs.
Now, that statement in itself, and we're going to get to it in a little bit, that statement, again, is, you know, when people are devoid of information and they're trying to figure out, is this someone who just got, because there are theories out there that Cassie, who supposedly had allegedly cheated on Diddy with the trainer, and supposedly she went on to marry this trainer and had kids by this trainer. Hey, her career didn't flourish. Maybe money got low, right? And now she's like, fuck, how could I get some money? Well, Diddy was kind of mean to me. I know a bunch about him. Let me go do a shakedown, right? So there are some people that had the theory that, even Vlad said this to me. Vlad said, he didn't tell me who he spoke to, but he said he knew someone within the Hollywood circles that would tell him, that was close friends with Cassie, and their conversations that Cassie had years prior and pretty much all the way up to the lawsuit was that she was into some of that voyeuristic behavior and was into them freak-offs. Like Cassie was into it. Like, she wasn't like, oh no, we're doing it. Like, that was her lifestyle too. She liked it. Right? Now, could this person be capping? Could she have had some type of Stockholm syndrome at a point where she's been kind of subjected to these freak-offs that she just says, fuck it, and her will's just bends and just says, all right, cool, I'm down with it now. Whatever. But here's the point. For those people who had that theory, they were just thinking that, listen, this is what happens when you move to, when in time you go to a different era, which is like the Me Too era, and consensual freak shit could get turned into non-consensual shit. Pretty much those people are probably looking at this today like, oh wow, no, there was probably some shit. For the other people, and there's another group of people who always said, I've always heard the stories, I've always heard Diddy's a bad guy, I've always heard Diddy might have did this, but you've never had any proof. Today was probably vindication day, right? Because, you've had those individuals like Stevie J or a few other people that said, yo, we haven't seen any proof. We've seen allegations and we've heard stuff, but we haven't seen any proof. Anyway, the point what I'm trying to say is that for those people watching this video is probably going to then make or turn your mind to believe everything is going to be true, right? So, everybody's allegations against him gets 10 times stronger, even if maybe some of them end up being false, right? Once you see, because he put out this statement saying, I never did nothing, right? So when you see that he wasn't truthful about I didn't do nothing and he actually assaulted her, you're probably now going to think, all right, maybe he did stick his finger up Lil Rod's booty hole or some shit like that. Which, by the way, wasn't an allegation, but I'm just saying, right? Now it makes every allegation believable. Anyway.
Let me be absolutely clear.
Okay. I think Law and Crimes had a little bit different breakdown because we do have to think about the ramifications legally, right? I know people believe that, he would be arrested. From what I heard or saw, he's not at risk of being arrested in California, right? Let me see. Let's see. Apparently, police. Give me one second. Apparently, police only investigate things of that nature. Actually, I'll read because I've seen TMZ put it out. They're the one. Okay, here we go. Because they reached out to some law enforcement sources to see if there's evidence of whatever. They said law enforcement sources tell TMZ there is no record cops could track down pertaining to the incident, right? Which means there wasn't a police report, right? And it wasn't reported to the authorities, right? So they're saying that in terms of opening the case now, LAPD is saying for cases before 2020, there's a 3-year statute of limitations, right? And after 2020, it's a 5-year. And I guess this statute of limitations thing is more of like if the case was actually filed, right? Anyway, it says, in other words, there's no chance the cops will dive into the specific incident for potential criminal charges at this point, at least as far as the LAPD is concerned. That's going to open up another Pandora's box because it's not the LAPD that raided his house, it was the feds. The feds could use the violence and, there's 2 charges that you could probably gain from this. Like the obvious, which would be domestic battery.
I did not allegations of abuse against music mogul.
And then the other would probably be like some sort of kidnapping, which anytime you hear kidnapping, holding someone beyond their will, bringing someone somewhere that you're romantically involved that they didn't want to be in, it also lends to the idea of sex trafficking. So when you see Diddy's dragging her, like preventing her from leaving, it's going to go into the theory of maybe this guy is, keeping women or bringing women places and keeping them there under the guise of like coercion or threats, right? You know what I mean? The threat might be, I'm going to beat your ass, right? Like he literally drags her back to the room. By the way, damn, look, he just cold clocks her, right? I think her back is turned. Oh wow, yeah, this is bad. This is very bad. This is wow. Yo, she's blindsided by this. Wow. And he drags her to the ground, kicks her. She had a Louis V luggage and some other shit. I think these are her shoes. And he grabs them, kicks her again. And then he's dragging her with the other things. And yeah, she looks helpless. Wow. Jesus. All right. We're gonna read the CNN article in a second.
Witness the law.
Give me 1 second. Here we go.
A disturbing new video has just... Hey everybody, this is a long crime legal alert. Google Incognito tracked users' browsing data without their knowledge.
Okay.
Well, Mass Tort Alliance, one of our everybody. So this is Ventura. Cassie was one of the first people, believe the first person, to file a lawsuit against Diddy. She settled with him the following day, but doesn't take away from the allegations that she asserted. Allegations of physical, sexual abuse, physical violence, sex trafficking, sexual slavery. We know that he faces other lawsuits. We know that his houses in L.A. and Miami were raided by federal agents pursuant to an ongoing sex trafficking investigation. But we haven't heard anything really about, major legal updates, major things, major pieces of evidence. Sure, there have been.
By the way, as I'm thinking out loud, and to add on to the conversation here, what many legal minds and people who have kept up with this case has kind of almost predicted or assumed that if Diddy does ever get charged, what he's going to be charged with. A lot of people believed that if he gets charged, he's going to get charged with racketeering, which under racketeering, it's going to be sex trafficking and racketeering. And under racketeering is going to be sexual assault, battery, maybe weapon possession and drug possession under the racketeering. Why racketeering? Racketeering is probably the easiest way to prove some of these things for law enforcement, especially the feds, because proving if he actually did one instance of rape is probably harder for them to do. To prove that he has a pattern and a systematic approach to bringing women where they want to go, using them for freak-offs, that's more of the easier way, and probably just like how they're doing with Jeffrey Williams right now, aka Young Thug, in court. If you can't get the guy for that one murder, just drop the net of racketeering, and under that, you could probably get him for crimes that led up to the murder and happened after the murder, because you're going to claim that he did this as an enterprise. Now, here's the thing, and this is why I bring this up. Let's think about this video. Why wasn't this video out if this was in 2016? Now, I do have the lawsuit here filed by Cassie, and she actually does mention this incident. She mentioned this incident pretty vividly. And let's see if we can find it, or find where she mentions this incident and what she actually said about it. Apparently that was the Intercontinental, so let's just search into Continental. Here we go. So in point 82, it says, freak-offs would often take place in hotel suites, including the Trump International in Columbus Circle, L'Hermitage in Beverly Hills, the London Hotel in Los Angeles, and the Intercontinental Century City, the Intercontinental Atlanta, Intercontinental New York City, which, by the way, Drake must be scoffing at Diddy. Drake got that line in Trophies where he says, I do not stay at the Intercontinental, right? But anyway, I do think this is an Intercontinental Century City. Let's Google it. Intercontinental Century City. I think this is the one here. So I think this is the one. And matter of fact, if we look through some gallery photos or something like that, we could probably find the hallways looking like how it looked. Let's see. Could you find some we could probably find. Yeah, we'll look up some pictures shortly, and we could probably find the hallway and the probably a Yelp Intercontinental Century. Yeah, hold on. Maybe on Yelp or some shit. They usually have photos on here, right? They do. They have too much photos. Anyway, we'll oh, these are reviews. Yeah, we'll try to find it later. Okay, we'll try to find it later. Here's why it's important. Let me just try to stay on topic, right? The reason why the footage never came out is, again, so we have Intercontinental mentioned here a couple times. It happened at Intercontinental. That's where the freak offs went off. At 83, it says around one occasion around 2013, there's a freak off that was set up in an Intercontinental Hotel in New York City. Okay, now they're saying there was a bunch of damages by that and whatever the case is. Clearly, what we also get to realize is that Diddy's companies probably had a very close relationship with the Intercontinental Hotel. We're been told. Let me tell you this: like, if you've ever stayed at a hotel, right, and you've racked up tens of thousands of dollars, like it literally, as it says here, I know you can't see it, sorry. If you ever stayed anywhere that racked up tens of thousands of dollars in damages in a hotel, you know what they would say? Not only do you have to pay, but you're not welcome here anymore. That's just kind of normal, right? You don't keep inviting back the same person who's fucking your shit up, especially these establishments. Sometimes even on Airbnb, like if like they might even fuck with your account if like you did damage to one of their properties. That's just how it is. So you're telling me that in 2013, he breaks a bunch of shit or some shit happens when they're staying there. He pays tens of thousands of dollars and he comes right back. Now, the reason why I'm going to keep bringing up this racketeering thing is that the reason this footage didn't come out is because Diddy paid the hotel off. Now, that is kind of along the lines of why racketeering exists, right? Diddy systematically probably funneled money. I don't know if he paid it directly through cash. Maybe he had like one of his assistants do it. Maybe he had a business partner pay the $50,000. But you're gonna see here later. Here we go. And this is the one right here. So point 120 says in or around March 2016, which that's what's caught on video. If you could see it in the corner up here. Yeah, you see March 5th, 2016. That's what it says on there. Cool. All right. So March 2016, during a freak off at the Intercontinental Hotel in Century City, Los Angeles, Mr. Combs became extremely intoxicated and punched Mrs. Ventura in the face, giving her a black eye. After he fell asleep, she tried to leave the room, but as she exited, Mr. Combs awoke and began screaming at Mrs. Ventura, which, by the way, then contextualizes. I'm thinking this nigga was in the shower, like, probably, and heard her leave. Looked like Diddy probably, like, he got that post-nut clarity. He's passed out, you know what I mean, snoring like any nigga does after they just probably, you know, fucked up whoever. And looked like that's when he caught her leaving. He followed her into the hallway in the hotel, yelling at her, blah, blah. He grabbed her and then took glass vases in the hallway and threw them at her, causing glass to crash around him as she ran to the elevator to escape. She managed to get to the elevator, and when she got to the lobby, quickly took a cab to an apartment. Upon realizing that her running away would cause Mr. Combs to be even angrier with her and completely stuck in this vicious cycle of abuse, Ms. Ventura returned to the hotel with the intention of apologizing for running away from her abuser. When she returned, hotel's security staff urged her to get back in the cab and go to her apartment, suggesting that they had seen the security footage showing Mr. Combs beating Ms. Ventura and throwing glass in the hotel hallway. Upon information and belief, Mr. Combs paid the Intercontinental Century City $50,000 for the hallway security footage from that evening. Now, I think this line also tells me that Cassie knew more about this footage, and maybe she knew more about this footage either before she filed this lawsuit and she got a copy of it, or something of the sort, because, like, it just doesn't make sense that when you were coming back, the security says, don't come back, just leave, but somehow you find out about the money that Diddy paid to the security that day after you left, the $50,000 for that footage not to come out, right? It says, after this, Ms. Ventura left her home in Comstock and went to a hideaway at a friend's home in Florida. James Cruz, the president of Bad Boy Management. Oh, no, well, then, sorry, it's a period. Then it says, James Cruz, the president of Bad Boy Management, tracked Ms. Ventura down and told her that the single would not be released if she did not answer Mrs. Combs' phone calls. Yeah. So that's when Diddy was like hunting her down to make sure that she would be able to answer from all this. Now, back to the whole, you know, racketeering portion of it. That would be an act of racketeering, right? Like, if you're having your president of your label hunt her down in another state to try to bring her back, which might also be considered as sex trafficking if you're telling her she must come back or talk to Mr. Combs with the threat of coercion or the threat that your single won't be released. which is, pretty much like you're threatening her financially. But also this paying of $50,000, right, to the hotel for the tape not to come out is going to be very interesting. That's going to be like super interesting because usually with racketeering, you and this is why every time you see, like, for example, the Southern District of New York, anytime they indict one of these gangs that have a rapper in it, you always hear that rapper was selling heroin or some shit. Like, they always put a drug charge or something to validate the idea of with any organization or criminal organization, one is gonna think, what? So where is the money trail, right? Where's the money trail with this? This is a good way to establish the money trail. He paid $50,000 to these people, and by the way, here's the thing: I'm pretty sure that the feds are probably gonna show up to the Intercontinental and probably try to press these guys. Yo, why did no one? Right? And usually, again, we just finished talking about, this whole little Riddler nigga who was talking about the Drake shit at that hotel. Some of these hotel employees are actually trained and certified, and it's their obligation that if they see something happen to a guest, they're supposed to step in or report it to authorities. Like, they're not supposed to do what supposedly happened here, which is turn a blind eye or take payment to hide or suppress footage. So I'm pretty sure that the feds or some authorities is going to be looking at them to say what the fuck was going on. And that might even spill up to the higher levels of the Intercontinental, like, hotel chain and say, hey, so if he broke a bunch of shit a couple years ago, y'all kept letting him come here and abuse people, and it's in lawsuits and alleged that he was supposedly sex trafficking into y'all hotel, and y'all are deleting the footage and hiding the footage, are y'all an accomplice? Like again, whether that's true or not saying it is, but it's a good way to probably put the pressure on other people around Diddy to make sure you get either more footage or additional information that could probably go towards their investigation, right? Okay, cool. So, Diddy supposedly paid $50,000, right? Which is kind of, it's kind of crazy, right? $50,000, and this is one of the reasons I think that Cassie had a copy of this tape. I'm kind of shocked. Well, not shocked. I'm wondering how she knew this. I'm wondering how she knew about the $50,000, right? Also, how did he pay it? If he paid it in cash, that's probably smart for him. There's no paper trail unless that was caught on camera, right? If he gave them a check, that could always be subpoenaed in terms of his records and bank records. If he gave them a cashier's check, if it was a wire, those are things that, this is 2016. This is not like the 80s. They could definitely get some information about that. We'll see. Also, there's probably more footage that probably exists. A lot more footage. Anyway, let's get back to this.
Legal filings, but this video has now changed the entire conversation. And we're going to go through this. There's only, I want to warn you, so much of what we can and cannot show you because this is a very disturbing incident of physical violence. But what it is it actually matches up almost word for word with the complaint that was filed by Cassandra Ventura. I want to bring in right now Tracy Walder, former CIA and FBI agent, frequent contributor here on Sidebar, and also national security contributor here on News Nation. Tracy, your immediate reaction to seeing this, because it is absolutely gut-wrenching and incredibly disturbing to see, in my opinion. What do you think?
I could not agree with you more. It was shocking, quite frankly. It's not that I ever dismissed any of Miss Ventura's claims. I always have believed her and her claims. I suspect this video was probably used in terms of her bringing up that initial case. I'm also shocked, though, that there's not additional criminal charges as well. This is extremely severe, goes on for such a period of time, and she was clearly very much injured. It is just appalling to watch.
Now,
also, and I know I'm trying to get y'all to watch it rather than just keep interjecting, but I'm trying to put my 2 cents and kind of contextualize it too. I'm gonna be honest with you. There was a point for me, especially with some of the allegations I would hear about Diddy. I would say, and I remember even saying it was kind of odd, and how he dodged that kettlebell incident was a little bit. There's been a few times in just like me watching celebrity life, I've seen people really get out of some shit, and you're like, how the fuck? I mean, obviously the Epstein thing, I wasn't like tuned in at the time when it went down, but if you ever watch documentaries on it and how he got out of his shit, like at least the first time, it's kind of like, what the fuck? Like, it almost seems like some Illuminati shit. Now, going back to Diddy, I was one of those people that said, at least at first, I was like, bro, there's no way you could just do all these wild things and just have everybody silent. Like, these are the days of clout chasing and like people run their mouth, people trying to sell footages. But like, there's nobody gonna hold it down for, like, if Diddy was really going around bragging that he shot people or got people killed, bro, there'd be a million people who are like dying to come out and say these things now. Or if there was like video proof or evidence that could be suppressed, no way Diddy could really do all this. But now that I see, I'm like, damn, this nigga really did pay the money for the shit to go away. And really, the shit never showed up until damn near 8 years later. That's it kind of goes to, you know what I mean, some of the nefarious means of how Diddy probably was resourceful with making shit disappear. Like, you know what I also heard? At that, and I don't know if y'all heard that, and maybe I'm misremembering. Remember the whole thing where they said that he supposedly slapped J. Cole or some shit like that, and there was an argument over Kendrick Lamar, and Kendrick Lamar saying that, you know, in control, that, you know, he's kicking over the buildings or whatever the case is. Apparently, which always shocked me, bizarrely enough, after that incident happens, everybody's still within their right mind and understanding of, wait, we're not gonna all scatter. They supposedly checked everybody's phone. Like, I'm pretty sure I'm not making that up. They checked everybody's phone to make sure nobody had evidence of that going down. Now, people, of course, like, they did word of mouth, like, yo, that happened, but there was no video, no audio, no nothing of that shit going down. Which I always thought, I'm like, nigga, you only see that in the movies. Like, yo, everybody stop. Let me see all y'all phones. Phone check. That always kind of sounded crazy to me. Right? I'm like, nah, Diddy ain't that powerful. Like, he can't just force everybody to delete evidence. Like, these days, people are thirsty as fuck to have some shit, especially if he went down in public.
Before I mention what we see in the video, going back to the complaint, because this seems to line up with it, in her civil complaint, it says in or around March 2016, and we believe that is when this video is from. I'm just going to double check. They say this video is dated March 5th, 2016. During an FO, now that is referred to as a freak off, one of these sexual encounters that was described in this lawsuit, where Diddy would force Cassandra Ventura to essentially have sexual relations with men in front of him during an FO at the Intercontinental Hotel in Century City, Los Angeles. Mr. Combs becomes extremely intoxicated and punched Miss Ventura in the face, giving her a black eye. After he fell asleep, Miss Ventura tried to leave the hotel room, but as she exited, Mr. Combs awoke and began screaming at Miss Ventura. He followed her into the hallway of the hotel while yelling at her. He grabbed at her, took glass vases in the hallway, threw them at her, causing glass to crash around them as she ran to the elevator to escape. She managed to get into the elevator, and when she got to the lobby, quickly took a cab to her apartment. This video, I'm going to describe it play by play. So this is from CNN. It says, the warning, disturbing images. You see Cassandra Ventura walking down this hallway. She's in a big oversized sweatshirt. And then you see Sean Combs in a towel running after her. And in the elevator bank, this is a hotel, public area, seeming no concern with anybody walking there. He grabs her by the back.
Hey, chat, I want y'all to help me out a little bit. And by the way, I'm going to get back to this again. Remember this video? I want to know what date was this? Diddy records Cassie on floor. What date was this?
You on my what? What you got?
I mean, her eyes do look a little puffy still. There was, yo, it's so crazy. Some of these things just contextualize like how you look at someone, or it just kind of like it changes it, right? When I used to just look at Diddy, like I don't know, maybe 2 years ago, it was just like it was the epitome of entrepreneurship and hard work. Like just even looking into his eyes here, no Diddy, it comes across evil just because of what we just kind of seen. But yeah, she does look a little off here, right?
What? What you got to say now? What you got to say?
This do look like a hotel, right? You can see like the little vent over here. So this look like it is a
Now.
hotel.
You ain't got shit to say. When you put your girl on the snap, baby, yo, babe. I mean, shit getting weird. Come on, baby. It's hot outside. You fucking wrapped up in that blanket. Let's go jog on the beach.
Yeah, this do look like a hotel, right? Am I tripping? I don't know.
Now, is there anything more beautiful than the sunrise in the morning of a beautiful?
Or maybe that's their house. I don't know. I don't know if it was a hotel.
What you got to say now?
I don't know. Y'all try to figure out the dates on that though, if you can.
Back of the neck, throws her to the ground, and then proceeds to savagely kick her while she's on the ground. Proceeds to pick up her stuff and then delivers another kick to her. He then grabs her by the sweatshirt and drags her. There's no sound to this, but you could almost imagine she's screaming here, but drags her back.
I don't see anyone coming to her aid in any way, shape, or form. And I also don't see law enforcement or hotel staff. This went on, in my opinion, in watching this for a period of time.
And by the way, and the video stamp is, I think it's around 11 in the morning because, Tracy, when you see it, it looks like daytime.
Yes. It does look like daytime. And I guess, and again, I'm not here to shame bystanders in any way, shape, or form. That's not what I'm trying to do.
Hey, chat, I don't think it's a crime necessarily to not report a crime. Like, for example, if you sit here and you watched somebody get shot and you just say, I'm not calling the cops or I'm not reporting it, even if that person's there bleeding out and dying, yeah, maybe morally you're a shitty person, but I don't think there's any law against that. Do you think that the people who watched this video at the hotel, watched her savagely get beaten, did not step in, did not try to, you know what I mean, be like, yo, Diddy, listen, we're not calling the cops, but she cannot stay in your room. You're violent right now. You're belligerently drunk. We're putting her in a different room. We're putting her in a different room from you. It looks like they probably just said, you know what, we're gonna stay the fuck on out of this, and y'all do y'all, and we'll just make sure this, you know, I don't even know if they did a wellness check on her. Like, yo, are you good? You sure? You don't need help? You don't need us to do anything? Do you want to speak to the cops? Do you want to go to the doctor? I don't know if they did anything like that. But there's many questions, and I do imagine that the intercontinental hotels are going to be getting a lot of inquiries from all type of media outlets, and them trying to and going to be asking for a statement at least.
But this was something that was clearly caught on hotel security camera, right? We see it now. I am assuming this was a very loud, raucous event that occurred, as you mentioned, you know, in broad daylight. It seems like it's AM to me, but again, that's just what I'm garnering from the video. And I am very surprised that hotel security wasn't up there, especially because you have that added layer of Diddy being one of your guests at the hotel. And so there's a higher degree of security that typically comes with that, just in terms of security protocols. And so that would have been in place as well. And so I am not shaming the hotel or shaming bystanders, but I am very surprised that we didn't see a security official on that video.
And it doesn't end there, because then he allegedly pushes her into the corner, and he sits down because you could see his reflection in the mirror from the elevator bank. So he's sitting down with the towel on. And it appears, I mean, taking it based on what she said in the complaint, throwing a vase in her direction. Incredibly disturbing video. And Tracy, we were at the point before this came out. Are the allegations of violence true? Some people said they never saw anything like this, but you had continual witness after witness and different complaint after.
Again, I know some people believe I was asking a rhetorical question earlier about seeing a crime, not reporting it, or maybe staying complicit and silent towards it. I think that goes for Diddy's peers as well, right? If we're hearing that Diddy wasn't only violent to her or didn't only do these things in private, he would grab her up, yoke her up, slap her, kick her, punch her at parties. And I mean, people have came out now about it, but they weren't really like running out into the world to tell this before. Maybe for whatever reason, maybe they thought they could work on his album, or they thought they could work for Bad Boy. I'm wondering, are we just looking at those people saying y'all are just shitty people, or maybe there's a degree of they owe a degree of, or they deserve a degree of blame for not really stopping this type of behavior early on and even letting it get to the point where, I mean, you could tell Diddy don't give a fuck. Like, at least in that video, he don't give a fuck about what a camera is.
Complaint that was alleging very similar behavior. So when you look at this, how does this change the legal framework for Diddy? Because again, she settled this lawsuit, but there's still
Black Jesus, I see you're the slow one in the chat today. You said, well, what's your stance on everything? Because 2 days ago you were criticizing a lawyer that was going at Diddy. Now you're over here saying looks like Diddy was doing some shit. Well, I do want to point out to y'all and that's for the slow one in the room, this is not the same lawyer. This is the only one who actually did not utilize that same lawyer that everyone's basically using, right? Her lawyers that you see communicating, which even I think we just seen on TMZ, or actually, her lawyer is Douglas H. Wigdor, okay? And we could actually Google that, and you'll see that person's Douglas H. Wigdor. That's Cassie's lawyer, is this guy. And if you look up his resume, he's not the guy who has the reputation as the other guy who just kind of like files a bunch of whatever. Notable recent clients: Cassie, Kelly Croft, Jim Trotter, Brian Flores, Julie Ormond, Charles Oakley. Okay, it's a bunch of people. Notable outcomes. Wow, $23.72 million in arbitration on an award of former chief financial officer of Six Flags. Wow, 7.5. Okay. All right, my boy looked like he was winning. Yeah, he didn't say how much he got for Cassie, which we probably won't know the actual number. We're still being told that the number is definitely in the 8 figures, which some people believe is between 30 and 50 million. Anyway, back to this.
Pending lawsuits, and there's a pending possible federal investigation.
I think that that's actually a great question, Jesse. And this actually just came to mind. Initially, when those raids happened simultaneously at both of his homes, his defense team really pushed back about the use of force that was used by law enforcement. And really, this video just speaks to that warranted use of force. This is someone that has a documented now violent past. And for law enforcement to use anything less than really what they did would actually be outside of their realm of protocol. And so that actually really bolsters that argument that law enforcement did act appropriately in doing what they were doing. But I also think too, in terms of just the PR, because he is in a way, at least in my opinion, waging sort of a campaign of empathy for himself, right? And that none of these charges are real. Nothing against me is true. But now you are faced with this in this video, and it is no doubt Diddy. I'm not in any question of seeing him on that video. And so that's going to be very, very difficult to spin that.
Here's the thing. When they filed this lawsuit against Diddy, I have to imagine her defense team knew about this video. And I also have to imagine this is why he decided to settle. He didn't want this coming out. And we don't know what else there is.
Okay, I'm going to speculate. And this is straight speculation. But if you ask me what probably more there is, and this is why I'm saying that I think Cassie I think she crossed her T's and dotted her I's before she ever even filed this lawsuit. And who knows how long this went behind the scenes where they were probably trying to get a settlement before the filing even happened. I do think she has more things. And if you read the lawsuit very carefully, you could kind of you could kind of get like a hint of what she probably has. In the lawsuit, she says, videos. Okay. Now, during the freak-offs, in addition to directing Cassie and masturbating, Mr. Combs was used his phone, laptop, and tablet. So this thing is filming on 3 devices. This nigga thought he was the Steven Spielberg of the freak-offs, right? To film Ms. Ventura having sex with the hired sex worker. He treated and forced the encounter as a personal art project, adjusting the candles he used for lighting to frame the videos he took. While she quickly deleted any photographs or video of sex acts if they were taken on her phone. That's a very big clue right there. So if Diddy was also recording with her phone, and I know she's saying she was deleting them, she probably had a couple up in there. Let's be honest, right? That would make sense. Now, if she had videos of these, got 40 dudes in the corner all jacking off, waiting to fuck her, and Diddy's in the other corner with 50 things recorded, and he's lathering up his cock, jacking off to, again, I think she has videos. I do think she has videos of these encounters, right? Which, again, I think that probably was one of those things. It can't just be, not saying this wasn't bad. Of course, this is horrible, right? Like the video of, Diddy hitting her and dragging her. Horrible, extremely horrible. But I gotta think that she probably had a little bit more. Yo, what case you ever seen get settled so expeditiously? Yo, if you're sending a wire, sometimes it'll even take a day. Nigga, the shit got filed on Friday, and by Saturday, Cassie was putting out a statement and said, hey, you know what, the shit's over. We've came to a mutual agreement, settlement. And you're like, huh? So I have to believe there was probably more things. I think there was actually videos, if you ask me.
He didn't want this coming out.
Let me grab some water.
And we don't know what else there is.
I could not agree with you more. They had to have had this video. I think they must have. I think it's why they settled so quickly. But I don't think he ever imagined that this would come out, to be completely blunt.
And remember, when they settled this lawsuit, his team at the time, through Benjamin Braffman, basically said, I don't want this to be an acknowledgement of any wrongdoing. But Cassandra Ventura's team made it clear this doesn't mean it doesn't take away from her allegations. And in fact, Douglas Wigdor, who's her attorney, released a statement after this video came out saying, the gut-wrenching video has only further confirmed the disturbing and predatory behavior of Mr. Combs. Words cannot express the courage and fortitude that Miss Ventura has shown in coming forward.
Hey, Chad, let me ask you a question. And I'm asking this question just as more of a poll, not because I have any agenda or I feel any way about the answer. Is it scummy? Is it scummy? Is it scummy to file the lawsuit, get the settlement, now that you can't, because, obviously she signed a non-disclosure and, now she can't speak on anything about it unless it's to the cops. After you do that and you got your money, then your best friend starts talking, which your best friend's basically like your mouthpiece. Then your lawyer is gassing everything else. And then videos are leaking, which I don't know if Cassie leaked this, nor would I accuse her, but maybe. And then also, you're also cooperating with the cops to possibly throw this thing in jail. I'm just asking, is it scummy that you finessed the nigga for the bread and you still doing all the things that he didn't want you to do? That's why he paid you. You get what I'm saying? Somebody said, nah, fuck Diddy. Southwest says, hell nah. It's coming to put hands on women. Somebody says, nah, do you see him kicking her and dragging her? Okay. The majority of people, and again, I'll just ask this to see where because before this video came to light, I remember like even Whack 100 was just like, yo, it's kind of basically saying that Cassie was finessing Diddy, right? I'll play it afterwards. Whack 100's opinion on it now. Everybody's opinion has changed since seeing this video, right? And I think even people holding out hope like maybe this is all BS. Once you see this video, I guess it's like, yo, fuck, it's a wrap.
To bring this to light, your reaction?
She is incredibly courageous. After watching that video, I cannot imagine what it took for her, quite frankly, to come forward. I mean, he was beating her. She could have been killed. I mean, I know it seems like I'm over.
I do agree with that. Him attacking her from the back was definitely cowardice, was definitely just, bro, I'm not even going to lie to you. Like, I could only see a coward doing that to another man, much less doing it to a woman who you're clearly stronger than, right?
Reacting, but in watching that video, that truly could have happened, and she still came forward. And I think that is absolutely incredible, and it did take a tremendous amount of courage. And I cannot thank her enough really for speaking out for other women, quite frankly, who may be going through this. And it's incredible.
And I'm so glad you said that, because so many times these allegations come out and they say, oh, these women are, this couldn't have happened. Why would they stay with them if this happened? This is a money grab. It takes, unfortunately, video like this to come out for people to believe it. Now, let's be clear. Sean Combs wasn't charged with a crime. He wasn't found liable in a court of law. But these were serious allegations that were consistent with other accounts. And unfortunately, sometimes it takes a video like this for people to believe that this happened. I'm curious now, with this video coming out, how do you think, and at the time of this recording, this is immediate reaction, how does Combs' team respond to this?
Gosh, Jesse, I guess the answer to that question is I don't know. I don't know how you respond to this. I would imagine just being consistent, right? With the other statements that I've looked at that his attorneys have put out. It's very much him being misconstrued by either law enforcement, by federal agencies. And so I have to wonder here if he's going to sort of, I don't want to say play a victim card, that's not the right word, but almost think that he has been victimized by this video coming out. It just seems to be consistent with the statements that he's made in the past. But again, I am completely hypothesizing here.
Some people might look at this and say, if this happened to her, why didn't she go to police, right? Well, in the complaint, in addition, any suggestion that Miss Ventura would refuse the FO, the freak off, or otherwise report Mr. Combs' abuse was met with ultimatums by Mr. Combs, who would say that Miss Ventura could not go to the police because she had a lot to lose. So there is this idea of this power that he had over the people in his orbit. And we saw echoes of this in other lawsuits. Rodney Jones, the producer who sued Diddy for sexual assault and harassment and sex trafficking, said that Diddy would threaten him and he would show him weapons and talk to him about how he was involved in these shootings and these illegal campaigns. And he had these, scary people that were working with him. Now we have a better understanding of, when we talk about if all of this is true, how law enforcement wasn't alerted to it beforehand, right?
Absolutely. I think she 100% feared for her life. What she had to lose was her life, very clearly in looking at that video.
Why didn't the hotel release this footage? Back in 2016, I mean, if they see this on their tapes.
Honestly, and again, I am hypothesizing here. I think when you're a powerful person, you can make a lot of things go away. And in my opinion, I think maybe he did not realize in that moment.
Hey, by the way, they did reach out to the hotel for a statement. This is what the statement has said. What the fuck? Come on. Why is my computer acting up? Don't tell me my computer's not acting up. What the hell? My bad. I don't know what the hell happened to my computer just now. Okay, I think it might be this website. Anyway, I'm on Perez Hilton's website. Yeah, this shit is like a virus right here. Hold on, let me see if I can find the article again. Where's the article? What the fuck? Okay. Anyway, basically they reached out to the hotel. Apparently, People Magazine reached out, and the hotel said this. The hotel said the hotel is no longer under IHG management, and we don't have access to prior incident records or footage. What's IHG? So basically, the hotel's kind of saying, they're pretty much kind of waving their hand like, we ain't released this shit, which means it must have been gotten before. And also, supposedly, they're saying that, I'm looking for where it says on this page, they're saying that this might have been part of the footage obtained from Diddy's crib when the raid happened. And supposedly, when the raid happened, this is part of that footage. And even though it can't be prosecuted on a state, state level, the feds might use it, but I guess, I don't know, maybe they're leaking it for other, I don't know exactly, but some people believe that maybe it wasn't Cassie who leaked it. Maybe this was at Diddy's crib on a hard drive, which that kind of sounds foolish. Why the hell if I'm Diddy, why the hell would I have a video of me committing a crime just stored on a hard drive at the crib? That sounds wild. So maybe it is Cassie.
Clearly he was intoxicated or under the influence of something, or his staff realized, oh no, there's a CCTV camera here. We need to get this footage or put pressure on the hotel. Again, I'm 100% hypothesizing this is all alleged, but I think that's why it's been sat on for so long.
You're not wrong, because now, again, this is an immediate reaction episode, so I'm going back to the lawsuit. Upon information and belief, Mr. Combs paid the Intercontinental Century City $50,000 for the hallway security footage from the evening. Your reaction?
Well, I mean, that's not at all surprising in any way, shape, or form. And if you want me to be, I guess, very...
Well, I see somebody in the chat says, well, he paid $50,000 for the footage. Well, I don't think he paid for a copy of the footage. I think he paid for the footage not to come out. Also, this ain't the movies where it's like there's one VHS tape of the incident, right? So this is digital footage, right? Which means you could just email this. You could make copies of this. Which means, again, if he paid $50,000, he don't want a copy of this. He want to make sure this shit won't come out. So I would imagine he's paying $50,000 for either them to destroy it, them to fucking delete it, or, I don't know if he would necessarily want a copy, because like that's kind of odd to just keep a copy, especially if it consists of you committing a crime on the tape, but whatever. But I would imagine he was paying for them to destroy it. It had to, not give him a copy.
Crass. I'm surprised that amount is that low for a video like that to be super crass.
That's another good idea. Well, not good idea, but a good thought. $50,000 from a billionaire who's just now. Well, I mean, here's the thing though, and you know where these things usually come from, bro. It's probably two guys working security, right, and probably a hotel manager, right, the manager of the night shift or the day shift. They probably gonna bust that down. These guys working at a hotel. No disrespect to the people who work in the hospitality field. Like $50,000, like is shit. You bust it down between the two security guards and the manager at the time. They say, yo, let's just keep this shit hush. You know what I mean? Maybe one of them like takes a copy of the video for their own sake, but they probably bust down that money. Like again, if especially if Diddy paid them the same day, like yo, bro, listen, I give y'all $50,000. I don't think they have the wherewithal to be like, nah, nigga, if we drop this shit, nigga, you're gonna be fucked. We need more than this, and we heard you're a billionaire. All that Ciroc, take that shit, nigga. We need $1 million, right? I don't know how it would go with $1 million. I think Diddy would have probably just got them killed, like to keep it a bean. Like what? Playboy, what, nigga? $1 million. All right, say less. Meet my man in this dark alley for this $1 million tonight. He ended up dead. But yeah, $50,000. what comes to mind is that it's probably one or two, maybe three max employees that probably kept it hush from everybody else. I'm pretty sure there wasn't company emails sent. Like so when there's a big incident that happens at a hotel, they alert all the higher ups in the chain, and sometimes that might even go even further than that. It probably wasn't that. Also, Diddy probably got on it so quickly that like shit, 50,000 is a lot. Especially if some shit just happened and Diddy's like scrambling and he says, "I'll give you 50 today. Just get rid of it." Right?
Doesn't this feel to you that it gives so much support to the other lawsuits?
Yes.
And whether that means he's going to try to settle these now, or I don't know. How does it affect the other lawsuits? Because it makes me feel like he might want to settle these and not fight them if this is what just came out.
I believe he will.
I think it's the opposite, man. I think it's the opposite. I think the only slither of chance Diddy got in hell for his reputation, it'll never be the same again. But for him to be accepted or have some type of role in the music industry or pop culture again is for him to fight all the lawsuits. And if there's going to be a couple frivolous ones, a couple bullshit claims in there, if it could be shown that, yeah, he was shitty to Cassie, like, of course, he won't be forgiven, but he might gain some more of the public trust if they're like, well, these other people were lying on him just for money, right? I think if he settles now and settles them all, it looks like everything they said you did, my nigga. You get what I mean? So I actually feel he shouldn't, and he pretty much can't, unless he's in the mindset of, I want to protect my children and what they could possibly do in the industry. So let me just take my millions or hundreds of millions and let me just hit, like I'm about to go to Bali with Russell Simmons. Because again, this is looking like a mountain of evidence that's going to fuck him. You know what I mean? Carlos says so wrong. Well, why do you think I'm wrong? Why would you, again, I've maintained, and I've said this to y'all, I don't think that Diddy did everything they're accusing him of. But I do believe that the main thing, and the person who's going to be the main witness if this gets to a federal criminal level, is Cassie. What Cassie alleged, that nigga probably did do. Like, Cassie looked like she's the straight shooter. She's the one who been around, and she's tolerated the bullshit. The Little Rod nigga, I feel he's full cap. Because if he's not full cap, well, Meek Mill is gay, and then there's gay portals of other niggas fucking, like Usher and other niggas fighting over Florida Flakes and having orgies with men. Again, the Little Rod nigga was saying a lot in his complaint, and I do believe that just on a public facing type of thing, Cassie's the one who did all the damage. The rest of these niggas, he could try to over time gain a little bit more of, again, this video makes it really hard, bro, but people might be like, oh, okay, some of them was lying on you, if that even matters, but he got to fight the others. You don't think so? I don't know.
Maybe settle those other lawsuits. I agree with you in that. But I don't believe the Homeland Security federal one. I think these are two different issues, in my opinion.
Criminal and civil. Criminal and civil.
And so I don't think any of the criminal ones will be settled based on this video. I just don't. I wish that was the case, but I don't think that that's the case. But I believe the civil ones, yes, I do think he will be compelled to do that.
Is this a sign in any way, this coming out, this being published by CNN, of anything about...
Okay, that was another thing that was interesting, too. Very interesting, Chad. Very interesting. Let's think about how this footage leaked. This footage leaked via CNN. Now, I don't know how CNN gets down. I do know they'll do things to, keep their number one rating on television or whatever, but they're not usually in the gossip tabloid business of necessarily, let's go negotiate to pay you the bag for some content. TMZ has worked like that. By the way, I remember, how much did TMZ pay for the last letter? TMZ pays for, we called again, Aaron Hernandez letter. Like, they had paid, look, TMZ paid quite a lot to get Aaron Hernandez letter from jail. TMZ had to pay a sporting goods company to get the letter, or $18,000. I guess that wasn't that much, right? They paid 18. Like, TMZ will cut the check. You get what I mean? Like, if someone had this footage, I'm gonna be honest, I think TMZ would cut the $100,000 check, because that shit would have had TMZ wilding today. I don't know if that's CNN's business or their motto in trying to gain viewership or whatever the case is. Maybe it is, I could be wrong. But this is what it tells me if they didn't pay for it. If they didn't pay for this footage, which is priceless footage, it tells me that Cassie probably leaked it. Cassie leaked it, or the authorities leaked it, right? Which means, what does it eliminate? It eliminates whoever at the hotel that were security or a general manager that day that probably, I don't know, maybe Diddy say, yo, here's the money to delete it. And they say, you know what? Let me just save a copy for myself in case I get broke later, or in case I need it for some shit later. Those people would have sold it. Like if you're going to bring this shit out now, you're going to sell it, right? The mere fact that it popped up on CNN, it feels like a leak, if you ask me. I could be wrong, but yeah. Anyway.
Movement in the federal case, you think?
You know, I wondered about that when I first saw this video. Again, initial reactions, right? I'm like, are we laying a framework right now, right, for potential charges? Look, when I worked at the FBI, that's not something we engaged in, right? Like leaking videos and those kinds of things to garner public support. So I don't want to get down like that conspiracy road, but part of me does wonder a little bit if this is just to sort of lay a foundation in terms of what we're looking for in the future.
Yeah, it's I'm still kind of reacting to this. You know, it was funny. We did an episode on Diddy and Kim Porter, you know, the woman, mother of his children. And I listened to his eulogy, and I've been following Diddy, you know, for a long time. And
okay, we're gonna get to this Kim Porter aspect as well shortly. T. Learning, thank you for the $10 donation. He says, too bad that from 2016, I guess he's saying this is from 2016, and the girl put it behind her, and so did Puffy, and it was settled in court already, so nothing will be able to be done about this video. It just makes Puffy look bad. 50 leaked it. Number one, I don't think 50 leaked it. Number two, no. Again, a civil case is nothing. Like, if I'm Diddy, truth be told, honestly, if I'm Diddy, this is how I'm thinking. Bro, I got some money, but I knew I was really running around here playing like literally the Joker and acting like this was Gotham City and I could get away with whatever the fuck I wanted to do. I slapped niggas. I was having freak offs. I was doing whatever I wanted to. If I was Diddy, I would be thinking like that, right? Now that we're in a different time, these lawsuits are mounting up. Hey, I'm going to try to, my public image is already burned. I'm going to try to use whatever. I want to make sure I keep the majority of my fortune. I probably do got to pay some shit out, right? If I pay out $20 million, supposedly he got like 400, 500 million. He's supposed to be straight, right? If you pay out 20, cool. He'll find some way to get back on his feet to start generating some revenue, even if it's some hidden things that he has to like not be forward facing in. Diddy will be fine. What I would be concerned with if I'm Diddy is not these lawsuits or these civil lawsuits, right? Is the fucking jail cell. Like, you don't want to go to jail, right? Like, you can't spend money in jail. You can't be on a yacht in jail. You can't play NBA 2K in jail. Well, maybe you can. You don't want to go to jail. You don't want to be like R. Kelly. Like, you know what I mean? Having to do motherfucking the Harlem Shake for a honey bun or some shit like that. You don't want to have to be over here like, I'm singing all about the Benjamins just for some extra time on the phone. You don't want that, right? So I would be thinking, if I'm Diddy, I'm with my lawyers saying, man, fuck all that shit to do with civil. How could this go into the feds looking into me? Keep in mind, the feds just executed a three-place search warrant on 3 of his properties simultaneously. They're not trying to come up empty. They're going to try to hit him with something to not look stupid. How could this help them and hurt Diddy from a, yo, you're getting charged criminally. They're putting cuffs on you shit. That's what I would be thinking, right? More than the civil cases. I think Diddy got the bread. But I think it's more of the, right now it seems so far-fetched of Diddy sitting in a jail cell because we actually just look at him like, not, we almost like look at him as he's more powerful than the law, right? But some of these things, if you know, I was looking up right before I started the stream, what is the federal statute of limitations for domestic violence, right? And the federal, it says usually the feds, well, this is talking about Jersey, okay, federally, let me see, federal, no, statute, okay. So all right, the is so here's the thing when it comes to federal crimes, it's usually 5 years unless it's carved out in the law book that there's longer. Like for example, obviously sexual assault, there's no statute of limitations federally or statewide, usually in all states. Usually for murder, there's no statute of limitations. But like for example, like most other crimes, they usually say about 5 years, right? Yeah. Now, here's the thing. You know, maybe the domestic violence is one thing, but here's the thing. What about kidnapping, right? Because kidnapping would also fall with, nigga, you dragged her, right? Statute of limitations, okay. And no, kidnapping does not have any because it's harmful and serious. So if we're looking at what we saw with the Cassie shit, and we're saying that 2 crimes look like it occurred there, definitely, right? One is the, you know, criminal battery or, you know, assault. That's him hitting her, right? That might be outside the statute of limitations, right? Not only on a state level, but on a federal level. But could the feds use this video if they're trying to say this was technically kidnapping and say, we're not going to go at it for the assault thing, right? We're just going to go at it for kidnapping, which this clearly looks like it is. You're dragging someone against her will to hold her in a room or wherever the freak off was going on. And that would be a federal charge. So I think that's how they're going to look at it. So again, if I'm Diddy, I'm not thinking about what you have to pay out on a civil level. I'm thinking about they're trying to put me in a jail cell, and I don't want to go in a jail cell. So I'm trying to see how any of these things that's coming out could possibly have me ended up there. And by the way, here's the thing too. Diddy has like a million lawyers, like he has criminal and also civil, but they're probably all hands on deck trying to make sure this guy does not get handcuffs put on him. Like, you can also realize that the feds probably know who they're playing with. They're playing with a billionaire. They're not playing with a bum. Yeah, they were pointing guns at his kids' heads, but when they pulled up on that man at that goddamn at the private jet, it was actually said that no cuffs went on Diddy. They detained him, no cuffs. When they detain his sons, cuffs. You get what I mean? They're treating him very different. Why? He's a guy of tremendous power and, you know, a lot of resources. And I think when they do want to make sure when they do anything with him, they want to make sure they're doing it very correctly, right? Anyway.
It's following his music, and the image that he put forward. This is a completely different person than we have ever seen. And I think that aspect of it is an important point to make, is that these allegations are shocking, but sometimes we don't know who these people really are, these high powerful people, these celebrities, or just individuals in general. How many times do we cover cases where people commit crimes you least expect it? But this, for me, I think there's no recovery from, even if he's not facing criminal.
Man, we all watched and witnessed in 4K what Diddy has done, bro. There's no more trying to defend it or anything. Diddy is cooked. He's done. It's over with. Man, I was never one of the ones to try and defend Diddy. But I will say this. I did think a point in time was going to come where, like, Diddy just disappears and he repops back up. And people might still hate him, but it won't be as bad. It's completely done now. Because now that this came out, there's going to be more and more and more stuff that comes out. And they said Diddy paid $50K for like the footage not to come out or anything. Diddy's done. He knows he's done too. Like there's nothing else to be said. Like the thing is, like with cases and stuff, like it's usually a he say she say thing until like when 4K proof comes out and you see Diddy running out, like someone's gonna make this into an animated skit. He probably ran. There was probably two dudes in the room. He probably ran out from a freak off, high off. We don't know what. And you feel me? Cassie was trying to get out of there quick. She didn't even put her shoes on. And we see what happened, bro. I don't know what's next. I really don't know what to say what's next for Diddy, bro. I don't even know if I feel bad for Diddy. But like, man, all this stuff, it's just crazy, bro. At this point, it's just crazy and it's sad. And man, you can't really feel bad for Diddy because he did it to himself, bro. Like, I seen a comment and someone said, damn, they trying to go so hard at Diddy. Like, look how they target him so hard. Like, bro, when video proof like this comes out, bro, what are you talking about? They're targeting him. He did it to himself. If you never did these things, this would have never happened. And like that, it gets me so hot, bro. Like, cause I like before, bro. Like, I don't want any of this stuff to be true, but it's happened. It's life. Like sometimes it's like with an artist, like you don't want certain things to be true, but stuff just happens. Like, and the crazy thing is, like Jay-Z's been MIA, and people keep bringing Jay-Z up. I swear, like now that other people are seeing how stuff is going with Diddy, bro, the whole industry, like take color out of it. Black, white, Hispanic, probably Asian too. All that, they were probably all like, all the higher ups are probably all doing the same stuff that Diddy's doing. But they're looking at this right now, and I promise you, the people who they know have the proof, they're all getting paid off right now. Every single one of them. NDAs getting paid off, all that stuff. Who knows? They might be getting, I'm not saying that people might hire hitmen, but hey, Diddy probably in this is probably gonna lose from now until the rest of his life, probably over $1 billion in profit that he just lost off this case. From now into the future, he probably lost over adding $1 billion extra dollars. He probably lost that, probably more than that easily. Like, think of that. For that much money, yes, someone might get clapped. So people might be getting clapped over these situations. We don't know. But hey, man, I don't want to seem like a conspiracy theorist and go too deep in. But let me know how you guys feel about everything. Who else do we feel like is a part of all of this? You feel me? It's so crazy, bro. That Cat Williams interview really started off the beginning, like how the year was gonna go. He said all the lies are gonna, you feel me, are gonna like fold wherever he said, and the truth is gonna come to light. All the truths are coming to light, bro. All of it. But you feel me? Man, it's crazy, bro. Let me know how you guys feel about everything, though. It's your boy Big Act News. I'm sorry, Cassie, that this happened to you. I'm not even gonna joke or say any jokes about Cassie. I hope that she's doing good mentally, physically. We don't know what, like, all the stuff that she said in the lawsuit, it has to be true. She got paid 2 days after it. 2 days, probably $30+ million. And look what's still happening. It still happened to him. He should have paid her before that. He should have never made those documents or it even make it to court. He should just paid her, or you feel me, did what he has to do. But man, bro, I don't even know anymore. It's your boy Big Act News. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. It's crazy out here, man.